Friday, we made it through another week. How excited are you about that? I am, particularly this week here in Texas. Oh boy. While we are waiting, so welcome to Cooped Up Live, should I say. This is a daily ish broadcast where I just talk about whatever I want to talk about, what happened in my day, what's happening in the world, all that kind of stuff, talking to my friends, seeing my mama every day. While we are waiting on all of these people to join, coopedup.com is my website. You can visit that at any time. You can also sign up to get sporadic emails from me just about the things that I'm writing about, thinking about doing. Follow me in all the social places. I'm Cooped Up is my handle. If you're watching this on my personal Facebook feed, I have a fan page or a page on Facebook also called Cooped Up, and it's at I'm Cooped Up right there. That you can follow this. You can follow along there as well, because I actually usually broadcast that there instead of here on my personal also. So anyway, and wherever you watch or listen to this is on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and the audio version is rebroadcast in audio format. So if you want to subscribe to that, in case you can't catch me live and just want to listen to me in the car, on your walk, or whatever, just click the bell to get notified. The podcast is on all of the major podcasting platforms. So wherever you like to listen, Spotify, Apple Music, I don't know the rest of them, but those are the two biggies. But I know it's on all of the main ones. So with that, let's get rolling. Hey, Mama, how you doing today? Hope you were doing well. So it is the thaw here in Texas. So we thought this morning was going to be a more normal-ish morning. That was quite a surprise to us. So most of the schools here in the Dallas area delayed 2 hours today. Originally, that was the plan. Yesterday, they announced we're going to start at 10 o'clock, right? Drop-off starts at 9:45. You can have your kids, just have them here by 10, and we'll get rolling. Well, this morning, we woke up, and the kids woke up before me, got ready for school. They were at least one of mine was so ready to go to school. And I'll talk about that in a moment, too. But so got ready and then got the notice that the whole day was canceled after all. And it wasn't just our school. It was all of the major school districts, most of the private schools as well. Only one or two that I checked did not actually fully cancel the day. Because supposedly this morning it was still pretty it rained overnight and it got back down to freezing. And it's crazy. So hang on, I just thought of something else. But so the whole day got canceled. Kids came into the room. I broadcast on our Google intercom system in the house about it, and they came in the room, and their reactions could not have been more different. Claire's like, yes. And Mason was about to cry. Like, he had tears in his eyes. He's like, what? No. Like, I think he's really missing his friends. He is really tired of being here. I think he realizes that, like, just being on screens all day is not good for his mental health, but he still is on screens all day. I try to get him off, but and then throughout the day, so here in my neighborhood in North Oak Cliff, Kessler Park is the neighborhood. If it is a shaded spot, it is still largely covered in ice, even though the temperature right now is 50 degrees. Like, half of my driveway sits in, during the wintertime, half the driveway never gets any sun because of the way the sun is like low. Very icy, very slick. You have to be careful. There's a lot of black ice out there still, even right now. I mean, I just got home from taking the kids to the orthodontist, and it was it was still very, like, you had to make sure you were stepping in the exact right spot. And then even on the roads, you can still see, like, certain streets in my neighborhood, which are in a very wooded, where we live in a very wooded neighborhood. Certain streets still look like they are not drivable. Now, I don't know if they are. I'm not testing them. It's also very hilly here in our neighborhood. For those of you who are not in Dallas, yes, there are two parts of Dallas that have hills. It is North Oak Cliff, and then there's some in the area, and the name just failed me, but it's right next to left field. It's another, like, wooded, kind of more rustic, rural looking area. So Eric who is a school teacher, says, I was split right down the middle. 50% of me was thrilled. The other 50% knows I need structure in my life, and that school provides that. Yes. Well, here's the other thing about the whole thing is had I known on Monday afternoon that we were not going to go back to school until the following Monday, I might have contemplated taking the kids out of town, like driven to San Antonio, something, so we at least had some things to fill our days. And the other hard thing for me, though, was that most of my clients are not Texas-based. So the Texas-based clients were very quiet this week, but the ones who are not Texas-based, specifically the ones up in like the Northeast and such, who think that we're like pish posh, they were still as active as ever. So, and it's real hard to get like when this is going on, even though we all worked from home and for 2 years or whatever, it still just felt like it was supposed to be kind of some time off or something. And Eric also agrees with that. I would have absolutely gone out of town had any idea that we'd be off of school for almost an entire week. Yes. You'd have only had to take half a day, even if you left last weekend. You took half a day on Monday. Because the DISD, they released early too, I believe. How does that work, by the way? So if you worked at a place that let out early on Monday and you already had that day marked as a day off, did you have to take the full day off? Or do you get credit for the time that everybody else was off? Stuff like that fascinates me. And then with the melting, you may hear it. We still have ice coming off of our roof. It sounds like there are people moving furniture in our attic right now. Like it just all of a sudden you hear, and then you hear. It's like I moved my car away from the house so that it wouldn't get ice landing on it in case one of them was really hard and like puncture the sunroof or something. DISD released at a normal time. That's surprising to me on Monday. But so we are thawing out. It is 50 degrees today. I think I saw that it's going to be in the 60s by Sunday. And then kind of rainy next week, I believe. So it's supposedly going to be a really pretty weekend, though. I do appreciate that about Texas weather is that it recovers extremely quickly. And even if it gets cold, it doesn't stay cold for very long. We have a charity event we're going to tomorrow night. We're going to an event at the Perot Museum, a gala at the Perot Museum. And I'm excited about that, getting dressed up. I do need to go put on my clothes, though, because I need to make sure, since I've lost over 30 pounds, I need to make sure that everything still fits. I'll have to do a little shopping tomorrow. When we went to Disney, I got those days back when the school was closed. Oh, interesting. So last year, this time, Monica and I were at Disney World together on our siblings trip. And I actually forgot about this until this morning that we actually had trouble getting back. Our flight got canceled going back, and we had to spend an extra day in Orlando, and not in an exciting way. We were at the garbage hotel, Residence Inn, which normally I like Residence Inn. This one was no residence. It was just nasty. But so we had to spend the night there at the airport even. And then we flew back the next day. So, but Monica's saying that when we went and school was closed here while we were gone, that she got those days back on her vacation. So she didn't have to take those. So, by the way, did y'all notice this yesterday, perchance? Do you see this thing on my hand? It looks gross, right? So this is a blister. So I was cooking salmon the other night. And the way I cook salmon is I do it in a cast iron skillet on the stovetop for like 3 minutes, and then I put it in a hot oven for like 5 minutes, and then I take it out, tint it with foil, and let it sit for like 10 minutes or longer. Like that's the process. And I was getting it out of the oven, and our normal pot holders were, I feel like I've told the story already, but if you just play along, if you've heard it, just it's a good fact check if I'm still telling the same details. The pot holders were in the ones I normally use were in the dishwasher, or not dishwasher, the washing machine. And so I had to grab these that are just kind of like only cover the tips of your fingers. They're silicone, and it looks like a puppet sort of. So I grabbed those, and as I was pulling it out, they don't cover your whole hand. They only cover like this part. I pulled my hand down, pulling it out onto the hot cast iron handle, and it bubbled up immediately. And I've read that you're not supposed to pop it. You're supposed to let it just get hard on its own. It doesn't hurt anymore. I mean, it hurts if I like push on it too much, but it was really, really really painful. I could feel my heartbeat in it like that night. So that's why I don't have hand herp or anything like that. So what else? Oh, Ticketmaster sent an sent an email reminding us about the Adele concert that we're going to on Saturday. A week from tomorrow, Carrie and I are going to be at the Adele concert in Las Vegas. And it was like reminding you about the concert. Here's the date. Here's the time. And then it had a message below it saying you're required to have a COVID vaccine. You're required to have at least the first 2, I think, or something like that, and proof of it. And if you don't have proof, you need to have proof that you have taken a COVID test, right? And I thought that was interesting. Like I didn't realize that we were still doing that. I'm wondering if it's still just a policy that they aren't, because it says we may check, right? And so I texted a friend who was there last weekend, and she said she didn't even take it on the trip with her, so they didn't check it. But I was like, interesting. I'm surprised no one has noticed that or taken that off or whatever. Because I got a booster, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And I actually forgot the card. I was like, oh, we're still doing that? I didn't realize it. So I need to still take it by the pharmacy and get them to fill it out. But I thought it was like the flu shot now where you just get it and it's like, it's your word against theirs if you got it or not. So, and I did mention my hand previously. It's okay. I don't judge people who forget previous conversations. Oh, yeah, I forget. So sometimes it worries Todd. Todd will be like, you told me you're worrying me, Cooper. You told me this last night. And I'm like, well, it's a fucking good story. So I'm telling it to you again. Shut up. But usually I go for some reason, even though I know that I forget things really, really easily. Like I can remember a song lyric like a son of a bitch, or I can remember, like I have like photographic memory about like where I was when something happened, or a song came on. A lot of times about a song, or I can remember if it's a very specific conversation, like a snapshot in my mind. Like I have a snapshot in my mind of where I was in the truck on the way from the Harlingen airport to McAllen, Texas, to go to my grandfather's funeral, and my stepmother at the time said something shitty about my grandmother. And I turned into The Exorcist. My head spun around and my voice dropped like 5 octaves. I was like, how dare you? Like that in the car. I have a picture perfect memory. I could tell you what the mile marker was. I could tell you if the road was newly striped or not. We were on the causeway over one of the floodways between Mercedes and Weslaco, Texas. I have a photographic memory of that. But I couldn't tell you if I told you the story last night about what happened. Like that it's so weird. But I get defensive about it. I don't mean to, but it is one of those things like Carrie loves to say, remember this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if I fucking remembered it, I wouldn't be asking about it again. And that's what I tell Todd all the time too. Todd would be like, Cooper, you don't remember that? And I'm like, if I did, I wouldn't be fucking asking about it. Shut up. Yes. We've talked about this already, Eric. And it always has to have your name in it too, right? Like, am I the only? So there are studies that say that the word that people most positively respond to, like their favorite word in their language, is their name, right? Like that is, I fully disagree with it. I very rarely hear my name in a way where I am like, yeah, that doesn't sound patronizing, or that didn't, yeah, we need to do that, Cooper. Yeah, it's always like that, right? We've talked about that already, Eric. And even if it doesn't have exactly that tone, we've talked about that, Eric. Like, why did the adding the name to it sometimes just it puts a little sharpness in it to me. Have y'all heard the latest on what's going on at the Dallas Zoo? So as you know, there were 2 monkeys stolen. There was a vulture that was suspiciously killed, and there was a cloud leopard that the pin was cut and it got out, and then but they found it in a tree. And then there was another one where the pin was cut, but the animal did not get out, right? And so they've had this like suspicious person alert and all that stuff. And they found the monkeys down in Lancaster, Texas, I think, somewhere around there, which is just south of Dallas, like the immediate southern suburb one of the close-in suburbs to the south. And they were found in a house that is owned by a church, and the church knows that shitty things go on in there, and they just kind of randomly call the police, but only after a while. Like, there's so many things that are just like not adding up. Well, the guy was arrested today that they suspected of doing this, and the plot thickens. The guy was found or he was spotted at the Dallas World Aquarium, which is a privately owned aquarium. Someone who lives like 40 houses down the street from me owns the aquarium. Their house looks like Jurassic Park. They have an aviary. They have this huge gates in the front. They have I think they used to have a shark tank, and they've turned it into a home office or something. Yeah, that's the kind of craziness that's down there. But we call it Jurassic Park. They have a toucan that makes all kinds of crazy noises. Anyway, getting off track there. So this guy was at the Dallas World Aquarium, spotted at the Dallas World Aquarium, leaves and gets on the dart rail, and police follow him. And he gets off like 2 stops down, and they arrest him. And so they think that this guy is the one who's doing all of the crimes, right? And then it turns out that someone who works at the zoo has suddenly remembered that this guy, and has identified it as this guy, was asking very pointed questions about like the cloud leopard, like where they are, where the monkeys are, something about the specific vulture, like all of like super specific things, which you would think that that person would have said something already. And maybe they did, and it just hadn't been reported to us. But that just seems like a very important little piece of information. I am still thinking, though, that this is a nefarious thing. I don't think that this guy is doing it for sport. I don't think he's doing it for himself. I still think that there's something nefarious about it. And I'm going to be disappointed if it's not the case. But so that's the latest. As of this afternoon, there's someone who's been arrested and is in custody in association with it. Also, the Dallas Morning News reported, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that zoo thefts are not that uncommon. Like, everyone's acting like it's such a weird thing here, but then they rattled off like 3 in the past 5 years or so at various zoos, and not even just in the United States. There's like in Germany, there was, I think in Berlin, there was a bunch of them. Somewhere in France, there was a bunch of animals stolen too. And supposedly the exotic trade is very, very lucrative. So, interesting stuff. Does that mean we're now officially a world-class city? You know, everyone says, oh, Dallas, we're trying to be a world-class city. If we have the same crime, the same animal thefts, exotic animal trade as like Berlin and Paris, does that make us a world-class city? Maybe it does. I don't know. In our city, in total different different topic, in September, there's going to be an interesting thing that happens. Madonna is coming on September 21st and 22nd to our fair Hamlet and playing her farewell tour, greatest hits tour, whatever you want to call it, a gazillion-dollar tickets, all that stuff. Well, Beyonce has announced that she is also coming to Dallas and playing at AT&T Stadium, which is the big where the Cowboys play and where the Super Bowl was, all that kind of stuff. She is playing an arena tour there, or stadium tour there, 2 nights after Madonna. So it's Madonna, skip a night, Beyonce, right? Tickets are not on sale yet, but you can get on the verified pre-sale if you are either part of the Bayhive fan club, Citibank card holder, or there was one other thing. Let me see. I have it on another screen here. You can, or just verified, a general verified fan on Ticketmaster. Like, they have different ways that you can verify yourself. You know what? There are going to be a bunch of poor ass people that week and tired. Here's my thing. If you can afford both of those concerts, if you actually have interest in even one, if you have interest in the Madonna concert, it means you're probably of a certain age in the first place. And if you can afford to go, it definitely means that you're of a certain age in the first place, right? And that certain age is not one that probably benefits from the late nights. So Monday, staying up really late on Monday or staying up really late on Tuesday is probably not going to be of great benefit to you Wednesday and Thursday. And then the Beyonce tickets, I don't know how expensive they are, like I said, but I can't imagine that they're very cheap. And that show goes late. Carrie went and saw her when she was touring with Jay-Z in 2018, I believe it was. And Carrie said it took 3 hours to get, something like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours to get home, because between getting out of the stadium, I don't know if you've been to the stadium before, but it is so fucking big. It takes like 30 minutes to get to your seat, no matter which entrance you go in or where you're sitting in the stadium. And it's just huge. And then the parking is huge. And then if you Uber or one of the Lyft, and what's the one I like to use now? Oh, God, I can't. So this is the shit that just falls out of my brain. I don't know what's going on here. But so you're going to be a tired, poor bitch by the time that rolls around. And actually, you're poor right now because you have to buy the tickets. Like, I think they go on sale like next week sometime. But anyway, and I don't know if they're doing it like where you get invited. Like the Adele thing is you had to pre-register and then you had to be invited from the pre-register pool to go to buy the tickets. So anyway, Alto, yes, Jody, thank you. Alto is the car service that I like to use. It's like Uber, but they use only two models of cars. They use Buick Enclaves and Volkswagen Atlases, and they're all white, and the cars are all white. That sounded worse than I meant it to. And all of the people are employees and have been like background checked, and they don't smoke pot in their car. That drives me insane. The pot smells that are around now. So anyway, speaking of expensive things, also, this is a cultural thing that I think young people do a lot more than us oldies, or maybe not. Maybe I just have a weird philosophical principle about it, which, by the way, if you are seeing comments that I put on the screen that you do not see on yours, it is because you are just watching it in a different place than other people. We've got people watching on Facebook, my page, my Cooped Up page. We also have them watching on my personal profile. I accidentally did that a couple last week, and then the response was great. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it in both places. But if you're watching it in one place and don't see the comments, it's because they're watching on the other place. And then YouTube Live also. So, but back to what I was saying. Pardon that, like a little official commercial there for all the places that you can watch me. Today, Claire wanted Jimmy John's for lunch. It is like her favorite place. I very much have a strong dislike for Jimmy John's. Mason does not like Jimmy John's. Todd, who's not in town, he didn't get home until like 11 tonight, does not like Jimmy John's. So I save it for days when Claire can just get a lunch and the rest of us can eat something else. I went to Taco Deli for lunch. But I ordered it for delivery to the house. And I tell you, this is what bothers me. And I'll tell you, that sounds like an old man, doesn't it? Jimmy John's. So the sandwich and chips and a drink, the combo, the Slims combo was like $9, right? But after you add in the delivery fee, they had two kinds of fees on there, a delivery fee and some other fee. I don't remember what it was. And then on top of that, a tip for the driver, like a $2 tip. I'm not tipping someone $20 or 20% for driving me food, first of all. And maybe that is 20% in that case, but I don't do the whole 20% on a $40 pizza order. Like, no, that does not make any sense. You're getting like $2 or $4 from me. But anyway, after all of that, this $9 sandwich combo came to over $17 delivered to our house. I'm like, Claire, I don't want to do that. And she's like, but I want it. Of course, my children are entitled little brats, so I give them what they want. That is not true. I just felt bad because she does ask for it all the time, and she gets it like once a month, maybe. It used to be that like if we forgot to send a lunch or just certain days, I would have them delivered to the school. But as part of like our new safety measures, the school's not allowed to receive deliveries like that. It started with COVID, and then with the Uvalde thing and all that stuff, all food deliveries were ceased after that. And I don't believe they've been resumed. I should ask the kids about that. And then the only other thing I have left on my list to talk about, so if you have questions, specific comments, anything like that, go ahead and start putting them in the comment section, is I have discovered my new addiction, y'all. It is this thing called the FaceDance app. And you can ask my sister, you can ask Carrie, you can ask Eric. People I text regularly have been bombarded with these things. So it's one of those where they take a photo of you. You just give them a single photo of you or your child or whatever. and they animate it to be like singing songs, saying speeches. The eyebrows go up, the eyes blink, the mouth moves, the head moves. I don't know how they do that part where the head moves and it doesn't. There's some of them where it kind of blurs around it, but for the most part, it does not. It just looks super realistic. The mouth sometimes doesn't go with the words, and it's not a free app, by the way. So you do FaceDance app, and you have to sign up for a subscription. But the first 3 days are free, and then you can just delete on day 3, and then you don't have to pay anything. So I already have like 15 alerts reminding me to do this because it's $5 a week, or you could pay $20 for a lifetime license for it. I'm actually tempted to do that because I've had so much fun with it today. It's lots of memes and stuff, but it is hilarious. There's one where, and some of them are like intellectual, some of like an Albert Einstein or a MLK quote or Barack Obama. And some of them are very sophomoric, like farting. Like you go, and you can see the person's face while they're farting, like that kind of thing. Hilarious, though. And you can also, some of them are like duets. Like I've got one where Mason is saying something to the effect of, in a British accent, "What is the secret to a good life?" And then Claire says, "Not arguing with stupid people." And then Mason says, "I disagree." And then Claire says, "You're right." And then raises her eyebrows like that. And I did one with Monica where Monica was doing like a Cardi B song or something. So hilarious. I mean, hilarious. I've done them with the kids, and I've been sending them to the kids so much they're like, "Please stop. Just please stop." But yeah. Oh, and I did one. Here's the funny thing is I did one. So little baby Adler, my new nephew out in Pasadena, California, here we're going to see 2 weeks from today, or maybe 2 weeks from tomorrow. His mother, Nina, Todd's sister, sent a photo of him, and I did it with him, and it worked perfectly. The only weird thing about it is he has teeth in it because, he's a month old. He shouldn't have teeth, but yet here it does in this. But other than that, it is so funny and hilarious. And some of them have little kids' voices. And so FaceDance app, check it out. I know it's on iPhone. I don't know if it's on Android. I don't know anything about Androids, but anyway, anything else? All righty. Well, that's all I have got today. Y'all have a great weekend. We have, like I said, we're going to that charity event tomorrow night. But other than that, I think we are just chilling, still cleaning up around the house, pulling out stuff that we're going to sell in a garage sale in 3 weeks, I'm thinking is when we're going to have our garage sale. Maybe 4 weeks. I can't remember the exact date. Well, we haven't actually settled on it, but we're aiming for a specific date. With that, I'm going to say bye. I love you. It's important to know you are loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you. This is my therapy. It's also my way to talk to my mama and my friends and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. And I will see you Monday at 4:30 for another episode of Cooped Up Live, should I say. Talk to you later. Bye. Have a great weekend.